just so you all understand how well this cabin works. No heat on. No heat on right now at all. That's 50 degrees in the cabin. It is currently 41 outside. Yeah, listen to that wind. Here it comes. Same wind. I can hear the broom hitting the outside, but it's totally dead quiet in here. Okay, I thought I would also give you an update on what I've learned with building this log cabin, which is actually these manufactured landscaping timbers, which is sufficient enough, you know, if you can afford it. I didn't have enough time to season logs. It takes, 6 months, a full season to get them, so that they don't shrink on you and all that. So we did it this way, which is actually really cool. I like it. So the mistakes. Well, the number one thing is that over there is covered up is a single pane window. I have a fix for it, but let me tell you what the problem is. Well, because it's single pane, in case y'all don't know that most of you have double pane windows, the double pane, what it does is it prevents the moisture from collecting. So on the outside it's cold and on the inside it's warm. So what happens is you collect water on the inside of the pane. Now, a double pane, of course, prevents that. And a solution to that is to cover it up with, I can put a really, see-through cellophane or whatever I want to do. I can cover up the entire window, and that'll solve that problem. Well, number two is pre-chinking. So this log jam that I'm using, I'm struggling to get it onto the outside and to get it squeezed underneath each log. You can see, like, when I first moved here, I was in a hurry and I just put regular sealant here. And that was just because I had to. And I chucked right up there. I know it's a bad visual on this front camera, but I did what I could. Now, if I'm not in a hurry, I'm going to be, as I lay the, logs, I'm going to be layering it with some log jam. Maybe not, a thorough layer or anything, but certainly at least a thin layer, or at least looking for the areas that require it as I go, and not be in a hurry. And that's probably the best bet. Also, you should season them at least for a while in the temperature that you think they're going to be at. Well, the number four mistake was filling on that regard was filling too many gaps with foam. So I ended up having to go back and chisel out all this foam in order to fill it properly with the log jam. But again, I was in a hurry. It is what it is. Just don't do it next time, and don't allow so many gaps. Okay, so number five is the door. The doors weren't properly sealed, or they weren't properly put together with furring strips. The furring strips will bend slightly, so you have a little flexibility there, and you can make it work. You don't really need insulation. I went to the insulation route, and it doesn't work in this situation. I just put furring strips all the way across on both sides. On the inside. On the inside, so that the door opens out. So you want to make sure that you get that door exactly right. And speaking of which, insert the door frame during construction. And I like, let me see if I can get around this side over here. I like this idea right here. This vertical post on both sides. I didn't do that on both doors. We did that kind of in a hurry on that one, to compensate for having cut the door too wide. But it actually is cool, and I like it. I want to accommodate next time for it because it was easier to install the door, and it looks cool. Again, make sure you've got your door exactly right, perfectly fit. And then when you are done and you put the furring strips in, make sure that you shut the door entirely several times to make sure it's a smooth close and you don't have any air leaks. And you can get a thermal gun to detect those. All right, so what else do well, I didn't properly insulate the floor. So it gets a little cold when air comes underneath the cabin. And of course, cool air doesn't rise, but it's not necessarily prevented from coming up and permeating through. I didn't completely cover all the gaps with the insulation. I just put it in there, and I didn't make the joists the right width because the insulation was thinner than a lot of the joist distances. So bear that in mind. Okay, number 7. My first tin roof mistakes. The screws were not tight enough, and they were improperly layered. The sheets were improperly layered the first couple of times, the first couple of sheets. So I didn't have quite enough overhang as I was hoping for. And when it started to rain, I had leaks because I did not tighten the screws enough. Of course, again, this is my first roof. I had to learn the hard way and the painful way while it was raining. So again, number 7, I didn't allow the wood cedar fencing that I use for flooring. I didn't allow that to season or shrink. And so because of that, I know that it'll expand in the summer, but because of that, it will never expand entirely. And so I've covered it up. When I get a chance, maybe if ever, I'll pull all this out and I'll re-rack them. You know, I'll just unscrew them all because I use screws. That's an advantage. Don't use nails if you can avoid it. I'll unscrew them all, re-rack them, and during the summer, so I know that they've expanded, and then screw them back in and fill the gap with some more planking. But I won't make that same mistake with the next cabin. All right, number 9, vertical filler logs were not tight enough. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so up here, you've got the smallest going all the way to the largest, right there. Now, on the other side, I started on the small end, and when I got to this end, I ended up with one that was, I couldn't quite jam it in there. And so I had to turn it, and so it left a gap. So start on the top end and go all the way down. I know I'm so unprofessional. So start on the top end and go all the way down, and that'll help because you're not so concerned about that small one as much. You can chuck that if you need to. All right, 10. Build the bunk bed before moving in because I don't have any room to build in here. I got to build out there and bring it in here. So if you want to do a loft or a bunk bed or something like that, do it while it's vacant, before you move in. 12, actually 13, whatever. I skipped a number. I wrongly calculated, this is important, and I wrongly calculated the OSB 4x8 exact length. It is not exactly 4x8. It's like 4x8 1/4 or some crap like that because you got a tongue and a groove. Well, obviously you can't measure the tongue because it goes in the groove. And I'm not sure exactly what I did, but I measured it wrong. And I know that the if you don't measure the tongue, you have a little extra because you got the groove. Makes it really complicated to measure exact length for 12x12 when you're trying to fit 8x4s in. Another mistake I made was I put in, I'll do it this way, top side. I put in the 8x4s like this, my toilet. The 8x4s like this. I went 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, we have 1, 2, 3 like that. And then on the other side, I went 1 and then didn't do the other. So you should be doing, I went like this. I went 1, 2, 3, and then over here I went 1 and then 2. I should have gone like that. And I know it's a little more waste of wood, but it'll strengthen your floor, your subfloor. So I wrongly calculated the exact frame size, not accounting for the post measurements, the posts in the measurement. So when I measured it, I didn't account for the length of the posts, being that I didn't, it's so hard to explain. The 4x8s aren't 4x8, and the 12-foot boards aren't 12 feet. And you have to calculate the fact that you're using, in my case, 6x6 posts. And you should measure from end to end. I had 3 posts on each side. So you should have end of this one to end of this one like that. And I didn't do that. I measured center to center. Wrong. And so I ended up with a lip on one side. All right, so that's 11 minutes of me yammering about all my mistakes. I hope that helped someone. I know this is not the kind of professional video you see everywhere else, but I'll try to make it a little better for you and next time. But I've been busy. I'm in truck driving CDL school, and I'm working, and I just haven't got a lot done because I ain't got a lot of money. So as soon as things settle, as soon as my life gets into more of a rhythm, I'll start building again, and I'll carry you all along the way. I promise. Until then, I will see you later.